At the beginning of the 20th century, there was a Wagnerian opera singer by the name of Ernestine Schumann-Heink. She was corpulent and loved to eat huge portions. One day, the other great singer of the day, Enrico Caruso, stepped inside a restaurant and saw Ernestine sitting at a table with a gigantic steak in front of her. Caruso looked at her and said, "Stina, do you mean to tell me that you're going to eat all of that alone?" She said, "Oh no, darling, not alone, mit potatoes." We hear of a large crowd of people listening to Jesus all day. By evening, they were hungry too. The apostles noticed this, probably because they were getting hungry themselves. They came to Jesus and said, "The crowd must be hungry, send them away." The apostles were always trying to send people away. Jesus said, "There's no need to send anybody away. Give them something to eat yourselves." They looked at him in disbelief and said, "All we have here are a few little loaves of bread and a couple small fish." They couldn't fathom dividing that among so many people. The great baseball player Yogi Berra once ordered a pizza. They asked him if he wanted the pizza cut into 4 pieces or 8 pieces. He said, "You'd better cut it into 4 pieces. I don't think I could eat 8 pieces." It's in the division. This is what the apostles were incapable of fathoming. They looked at what they had and decided it was not enough to divide. That's the excuse we all use. We look at what we have and we say, "I can't possibly give. I can't possibly give to others because I don't have enough for myself and my family." We behave just like the apostles. We do the math and decide that we cannot divide. Jesus did not agree. He said, "Let them sit down. Bring me what you have." This is the only miracle recorded in all 4 Gospels, and in the others we find more details. It turns out it was not the apostles who had these few loaves and fishes. This was not in their hands. It was in the hands of a poor little boy. We know he was poor because these were barley loaves, the cheapest kind. Maybe his mother had packed him this lunch. He was hungry too, just like everybody else. But unlike the apostles, he didn't count. He said, "This is what I have. Take it." And he gave all he had. The poor became the provider. "Send them away," said the apostles. They always wanted to send everybody away. When the children wanted to come to Jesus, the apostles wanted to send them away. When the crowds came to Jesus, the apostles wanted to send them away. They wanted to send away the sinful woman, send away all the sinners and the riffraff that were coming to Jesus. At the end, the apostles were the ones who ended up running away when the chips were down. It was ever thus. Throughout history, we encounter leaders who see in the crowds not people, but problems, and want to send them away, whether it was a Galileo who was smarter than they were, or a Joan of Arc who was holier. The first reaction is always to send people away. But Jesus says, no, let them stay. Let them sit down where they are. there is enough for everyone to be satisfied. The word Catholic means universal, something for everyone. It means sit down on the grass right where you are and be fed. There is no need to get up and leave. Jesus said to the apostles, maybe you don't have in your hands what it takes to feed these people, but this poor little boy does, and he is also among us, no less than you are. Then Jesus does something extraordinary. He takes the little bit that the boy had, doesn't complain that it's not enough, doesn't complain that it's not the big hunk of meat on Stina's plate, but accepts it and gives thanks. We often have the same attitude as the apostles. We say, I don't have the right stuff. And God says, oh yes you do. We say, I don't have enough. And God says, oh yes you do. Look at what you have. Accept it. Be grateful for it. And you will be amazed that there is enough for you and for everyone else. Then comes the great miracle. They call it the miracle of the multiplication of the loaves, but we should rather call it the miracle of the division of the loaves. Jesus does not wave a magic hand and produce thousands of loaves of bread on the spot. What he did was divide what was there. The miracle of multiplication came through the division. What an amazing mathematician God is. Multiplication comes when we divide. It is when we subtract from what we have that something is added to it. Through this division, that division which the apostles were incapable of doing, the bread was multiplied, and there was enough for everyone. What became of the little boy who didn't count the cost? That little boy who gave everything he had, including his own lunch, so that it could be divided? After giving up the little he had, everything he had, he went home with 12 baskets filled with bread. It is when we give without counting the cost, it is when we give everything we have, that we discover the miracle. There is enough for everyone, and we ourselves end up with far more than we had. Let us too go to this school of Jesus and learn to divide. Learn to share what we have, and we will find that we too have not only enough, but a superabundance for us and for everyone around us. Let us go to the math class of Jesus and learn that it is in division that multiplication is possible. Let us learn to multiply by learning to divide.